Hello, it's Empress LuxAse. Please like and subscribe. Thank you to those I already do. If you like exclusive content, check out my Patreon and my member section over here on YouTube. This particular reading is about Justin Bieber. I looked at his transit chart for this year. We're in July 2025, and also sneak peek into the transits that he'll be dealing with for 2026. So let's get into it. Now, I've done a lot of tarot readings on him, even for him and his wife. So I already know 2025, the early part definitely was difficult for him. But to be honest, between this year and next year, it's the most intense 2 years of his life. They're not going to be tough. It's, 2025 and 2026. It's not just going to be tough. It's going to be very transformational for him. It's definitely themes around ego death, marriage karma, a rebirth with his career because he's dropped some sort of new music. And this is also a spiritual storm cycle for him. Now, I would say 2025 is when the cracks begin to show for him and also his marriage. The fog rolled in. The fog rolled in for Justin. With Neptune and Saturn that kept hovering over his Pisces sun and his Saturn, this is all about his very identity and who he is. So basically, to sum all that up, he had a lot of confusion, burnout, and also a creepy feeling that the world he built no longer fit the soul he was becoming. And he could have possibly, allegedly, entertainment was trying to escape it or had bouts with escapism. And we're still in 2025, so he could still be dealing with those type of things. He also may have retreated from the spotlight, questioning his faith, or, felt like he was losing himself. That with Pluto squaring his Venus, well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, with him dropping the new music, I've seen him out with SZA and Sexy Red. He's coming out of that retreat energy. But with Pluto squaring his Venus, this is power struggles within love and his image. So definitely, just looking at his chart and doing the tarot readings I've done, he has tension with his wife and possibly even his creative teams. I also saw like he had to pay Scooter Braun, I believe, like $30 million. I believe that's what it is. Don't quote me on that. So control issues would definitely surface for him. That nice guy might not be so nice behind the scenes. That's what I'm gonna say for Justin. So there's definitely indication that there was pressure building behind the curtain. But 2025, I don't feel like it's going to be the collapse for him, but it gives the rumble before the earthquake. But baby, 2026 is when the universe is going to stop whispering and start screaming towards him. For this is like for him and the marriage to Haley, this is the year of reckoning, soul reckoning. So March 2026, with that solar eclipse hitting Justin's Pisces sun and his Saturn, this is like a spiritual ego death. Who he thought he was is going to be gone. Who the world thinks he is, it wouldn't even matter anymore at that point. That's where the real transformation will begin, or the breakdown. It could go either way. Now, September of next year is when the relationship karma will arrive. He's going to have a Libra lunar eclipse that will land near his south node. So this is going to target those karmic partnerships. So is the marriage going to be over? Is it going to be reborn? Or does he finally choose himself for real? Like the real authentic Justin Bieber. So at that point, it's not going to even be about fame anymore. It's going to be what's fated. Now, December of 2026, there's going to be an emotional explosion. Mars will be going retrograde in Leo, and that's going to square Justin's Scorpio moon. That's a lot of emotional warfare. So if he hasn't dealt with the pain, it's going to spill out publicly, more than likely publicly, or explosively, maybe even legally. There could also be a lot of family tension, burnout, or secrets coming out, or just secrets. It's a fire that either is going to cleanse him or consume him. Now, the spiritual aspect to all of this, I feel like these 2 years are going to script Justin down, make him bare in a sense. The fame won't mean nothing. Money won't fix it. This is about soul alignment or soul avoidance. He's either going to step into his next spiritual evolution or run from the exact pain that came here to save him. So I'm going to say 2025 sets the stage for him, but 2026 will set the soul on fire. If he rises from the ashes, he'll be a phoenix. He won't just be back. He'll be unrecognizable. Yeah. Now I know there's been concern around what's going on with him, you know, emotionally and mentally, and is he going to possibly end up like Aaron Carter and celebs like that? Now, I actually did pull 5 tarot cards for him and really studied his chart. Um, I'm gonna say 2026 with the transits and the cards I pulled, he's gonna go through a deep ego death. Um, so that doesn't have to be a literal one unless he resists every signal to rest, retreat, and evolve. But just to break down what I see on my end, he's gonna have Saturn plus the Neptune conjuncting his sun. So the sun is your life force, your identity, and your vitality. Now, March 2026, he's also going to have that Pisces solar eclipse that's going to be on the same point as well. Then Pluto squaring Venus, this is karmic transformation in love, health, and values. Mars retrograding in Leo squaring his moon in December, this is emotional combustion. So with those combo, it can show a possible collapse or at the very least a severe depression, him relapsing with addictions, medical emergencies, or destructive choices if unprocessed trauma is avoided. So you can sometimes see where the soul exit astrology wise, or when someone chooses to leave spiritually if they feel done with this chapter of life. But sometimes it can manifest as like taking a break from fame, or like a retreat from fame or the public entirely, or like a psychic break, or like a psychotic break, or rehab, or dark night of the soul where the ego shatters but the body stays alive, or maybe some artistic resurrection where they come back completely and reinvented, like, you know, Britney and Kanye, that type of thing. And also, you know, astrology could be the depth of who a person is, an illusion or a toxic attachment. I want to say if he surrenders to the process that he's going to go through, this massive spiritual awakening, he could, you know, possibly start a new chapter in music or even build a legacy beyond the pop game that we're accustomed to. Like, could he start maybe doing more soul music? I would say he definitely has the voice for it if he wanted to. He could switch genres. But just to be honest, looking at everything, when people should really watch him closely for next year is February to April. So he's going to have issues with who he is, his vitality, and he does have a risk of possible depression there. September of next year is also a relationship or contract breaking points, and the December 2026 is heavy energy of emotional suppression, so explosion if not addressed it. So this is when he's going to need the support, protection, and boundaries the most. If he neglects his mental health, overwork, or numbs out, there is potential dangers. Not gonna lie. If he goes quiet and faces the demons, he could either return like a new Justin or vanish into spiritual. Yeah. So I hope he doesn't transition physically. Maybe at the most he transitions to a different version of Justin Bieber. Honestly, that version needs to go because he has a lot of built up trauma. So I will hope it's more so just like a rebirth. Um, it just feels like it's a lot of soul awakening. This is like his soul confronting him, or him confronting his soul. Because the 2026 transits, just like similar to the 2021 transits, 2000, well, I say 2021, the 2025 transits, it's the energy of major spiritual awakening, his identity collapsing, crisis around fame, faith, marriage, or his health. And I'm not gonna lie, just for any and everyone, there could be extreme cases where people check out spiritually, emotionally, and in rare cases physically, based on the people transition every day. But the transits next year are pretty serious. I would say the transits are getting interesting right about now. With that Pisces solar eclipse March 9th, and that's close to his birthday's March 1st. It's gonna be right on his sun and Saturn. So that's as close as astrology would get to a soul reset button. So around about that time, he could feel like he's naked, as if everything he's built, fame, marriage, his public identity, persona is no longer matters. If he's spiritually grounded, this could be a massive breakdown. If not, he could burn out, have a withdrawal, illness, or worse. Now, with that Saturn Neptune conjunction on his sun, that only happens once every 36 years, so it'll be right on his vital life point. Saturn is the teacher. It's also pressure, fatigue, isolation. Neptune is illusion, escapism, confusion. So together, that could be a psychic drain for him. Worst case, maybe he detaches from reality. Maybe we hear something around an addiction or a depressive state for him. With the Mars retrograde in Leo, November to December of next year, his Scorpio moon will be squared. So this is like deep emotions. Him possibly having rage or self-destructing or public meltdown, or having maybe a breakdown if his feelings have been buried. December is, I'm just gonna keep it honest, be honest with you, December is probably the most dangerous month for emotional or physical acting out for him. He does have a window of vulnerability, because there's 3 major events, especially the March eclipse and the December Mars and Moon war. So that can indicate brushes with mortality if he's not supported. If he resists surrendering to this higher path that the universe is trying to put him on, yeah. But energy changes, people change. It's all up to him. But what I will say, the version of Justin Bieber that we know is not going to survive 2026. Definitely, there's indicators of ego death all through the year. So hopefully he just emerges stronger. If anything, I would say maybe a spiritual retreat will help him, stepping away from the public life or having some sort of deep therapy, maybe even some sort of like a ayahuasca retreat, or like channeling everything he's going through an album or a film or some sort of artistic, like maybe a documentary from something. Also letting go of toxic handlers, pressure, and fake peace. For me, I kind of get that his wife is a handler of some sort, to be honest. But just for what 2026 really means for him, it's definitely spiritual awakening, possible a collapse, his emotions boiling over, and a reinvention. Now, if he goes on that spiritual awakening route and surrenders, retreats, and heals, beautiful. Even with that potential collapse, he may numb himself, isolating to avoid pain. And with the emotions, he could lash out and want to fight everyone. And with the reinvention, he could channel it into a new purpose. Now, with the spiritual awakening, he could rebirth as a different artist. And with the collapse, this could possibly be a breakdown or him vanishing. And with the emotions rising up, especially around December, this could be like legal, health, or a mental crisis. And with that reinvention energy, this could be like maybe he disappears and he resurrects his career in 2027. But so he's destined to face some illusions and fame and control and whatever he's been hiding behind him. So 2026, it could break him or make him. Will be all up on him. Now, getting on to the tarot cards that I pulled, I actually got the Tower, the Hermit, the Star, the Eight of Cups, and the Temperance. So the Tower, we know, is something like big happening, something suddenly that's usually out of your control. That feels like that collapse energy that I was getting for him. This could be like the collapse of everything false dealing with him, his ego, fame, persona, marriage dynamics, or forced reset. The Hermit is isolation by choice. As Virgo energy, possibly him like ghosting, going inward to remember who he really is beyond all the labels. The Star is the spotlight for me, and also hope, healing after a potential breakdown. His purpose may return. His who Justin's authentically is, a spiritual light. The Eight of Cups did show up, which is walking away at transition. Hopefully it's just him leaving people behind, contracts, lifestyles, even music, to find who he truly is. And the Temperance was the last card. And this talks about the divine spiritual alchemy. Archangel Michael's on there. And it's the healing of the inner masculine and feminine for him. The integration after the storm. And that's what I have for Justin Bieber. I really wish him the best. Bye.